Let's do 45 minutes of Yin Yoga for the legs. In today's practice, we're going to be a little bit more playful with our shapes. So a lot of these positions that we're coming into, you may recognize if you've practiced yoga before. So we're going to get a little bit experimental with how we hold ourselves. Yin Yoga doesn't have the same alignment cues or rigidity that some styles of more Yang Yoga can have. So I'm going to encourage you to explore the nuances of these shapes. How does it feel if you have your head in a certain position? What if you reach your arm further? What if you tuck your tailbone? So I'm not going to give you a lot of alignment cues here. I'm going to set you up in the shape and the rest is up to you. We'll use a pillow, blanket, blocks, any combination of those throughout the practice. They're here to support and make this shape more achievable, more comfortable for the time we're sitting in them. Let's get started in a Thunderbolt pose. So Thunderbolt is a kneeling position, kind of like what I'm in now. Maybe the heels are underneath your butt. If that's not comfortable, you can either sit down on your bottom or slide a couple blocks, a bolster underneath your hips, or even get a pillow or a blanket underneath the thighs in between the calves. We'll start here. You can close down your eyes or soften your gaze. In Yin Yoga, we're welcoming this soft, gentle, passive practice. So we're not looking to engage through any muscles, we're not looking to hold or grip. Welcome this passiveness into your practice. Notice how your body is feeling. Notice how you're holding yourself. And bringing your awareness to any aches or pains or anything that doesn't feel quite right as you sit here. Can you adjust? Can you make yourself more comfortable? Let's let go of the idea that we have to work for these shapes. Welcome the idea that we make the shapes work for us. Invite a little awareness back. Just enough so that you are able to move. You want to keep that soft, slow, yin-like energy. You can move props out of the way. We're going to come into toes pose next. So we want to curl the toes underneath, making sure all 10 toes curl under. And you can use your fingers here to curl them under. If this is a really intense position for you, you can use the block or a wall and place your toes up against that to give them a little bit of a flex in a standing position, maybe leaning up against a wall for a bit more support. Whatever you want to do with the legs, whatever width, your choice here. And again, play with the nuances of this shape. How does changing the position of the legs and the feet affect the shape? For less intensity, lean forward, maybe bring your hands to a block, hands to knees. For more intensity, more load, shift your hips back onto your heels. We'll do a couple of minutes here. And in our yin practice, we're looking to find sensation that would come in at about a 7 out of 10. So a magic number, 7. Nothing painful, nothing sharp. Think broad, dull, ache. You'll notice that this intensity, the 7 out of 10, is what's known as the edge. It may change over time. You might feel yourself opening, softening to the shape, and you might be able to slowly shift back. Alternatively, it may intensify and you might have to shift forward and ease out a little bit. Always listening to your body. 7 out of 10. We have a little under 1 minute left in this position. If you are able to stay, knowing that at any time you can come out, you can readjust, you can shift. You're never stuck in this position or any position. Enough awareness slowly growing to prepare you to come out of this shape. You can bring your weight forward as you come into tabletop, uncurl the toes. A wriggling of the toes or a little tapping out on the mat might feel good. Notice what it feels like to release. That puffiness, that heat. Maybe that flow or energy coming from that place in between where the toes meet the ball of the foot. Let's shift into our next position here. We're going to come into a butterfly position. So I'm going to sit up onto a pillow to get my hips up a little higher. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees into a nice long diamond shape. You'll get different sensations depending on how long you make your diamond. So a long, narrow diamond will feel really different to a short, stumpy diamond. You can decide here. I like to use bricks underneath my thighs so that there's something for my legs to soften into. If you don't have bricks, blanket will do. If your body really loves external rotation, you've got your knees nice and low to the ground, you might even want to bring your feet up a little bit higher so that your knees can drop a little bit lower or work towards dropping a little bit lower. Completely up to you here. Set yourself up in your shape, and you might sit, you might fold. And as you come into this shape, finding your edge, explore the nuances again. What if I'm off to one side? What if I round my back and tuck my chin? What if I cradle my head in my hands? What if I let myself be really heavy and floppy? We have a few minutes here, so there's lots of time and play available. You don't have to be completely still. You don't have to be rigid for the whole chunk of time we're here. If you want to, you can. But it's not crucial. As you play and explore your edge, checking in and noticing what the body tells you, how the body responds as you settle into the shape. Noticing if the breath changes, if the sensation changes, if your patterns of thought change, all good indications of how we're doing in these shapes. And we have a little under 1 minute left here. Slowly shifting, and there might be a little bit of shimmy or rippling through the body as you come up or out of this position. You can move your blocks or your props out of the way, use your hands to lift the knees. Feel free to give them a bit of a shake from side to side with windshield wipers. And so we're going to come into a dragon next. And dragon is the yin version of a low lunge. So if you need some extra cushioning under your knee, double over your mat, get your blanket, get your pillow. And start with whichever leg you want to do the least. Stepping your leg forward. And we'll add a little bit of Achilles stretch or stretch to the back of the calf by shifting forward and getting the knee to come past the ankle so that we have a little bit more of a knee over the toe situation going on. If that doesn't feel right, doesn't feel comfortable, or maybe your heel begins to lift, you can always shift your foot further and take more of a normal stacking of the knee and ankle. So here, again, explore the nuances. What happens if I lean and dangle? What happens if I get a little bit of a twist going on? What happens if I really sink myself down into the shape? You can lean your arms. You can come into more of a lizard style with hands to the inside. Whatever you like here. Settle in. We've got a couple of minutes here. Again, 7 out of 10. Broad, dull, ache. And in these shapes that require a lot of the body, know that you don't have to come to your deepest available stretch immediately. You may find your body responds better by slowly easing yourself into the shape, into that edge. And there's lots of room to play here. What if I drop my hip? What if I round into my back? What if I tip my pelvis forward? We're a little over halfway through this shape now. Keep working with that edge. Keep exploring the shape. If you need more, if you need less, listen, react, or respond to what your body is asking for. Preparing your body to shift slowly and with care, particularly if you've come in quite deep here. Shifting back. Think spirally movements if you feel you need movement. If you need stillness, kneeling, sitting, laying, whatever you like. We're going to come into a half split position next on the same side, so we're shifting the hips back. And you can keep up on high knees here and tip forward if you like. You can sit down on that heel, or you can come into a little bit of a half hero with your leg and your foot next to your body. It's okay if your knees lifting up a little bit, but if you come into the position and the knees are way up high, I would recommend taking a different variation. As you sit in this position, again, you might need something underneath your bottom. You can sit up, maybe you fold yourself forward. Things that you can play with here, the rotation of the leg, whichever variation you're in. If you turn the foot externally, it feels different to if you roll it in. It feels different if you have your foot into a more neutral position. Again, the twist of the body. What if I come out to the side and take a little twist? Spending time here. Find your edge, explore. The goodness, that real juicy stretch lies within those nuances of the shape. We're about halfway through this shape now. Notice if your response was to go to that shape that you're used to, that you're comfortable with. And if that is, that's okay, but ask yourself why. Why have you gone to this shape? Why have you chosen this variation? What's stopping you from exploring something new? Letting your breath deepen. Awareness growing just enough so that you can shift out of this position. Windshield wipers might feel nice. Let's come into our dragon position on the other side. So stepping the other leg forward. And your left and right side may be completely different. They will not feel, look, react the same to spending time in these shapes. So don't treat them as if they are. As you sink into this shape, as you find your variation, it doesn't have to be what you did on the other side. It can be completely different. It can be slightly different. Honor what's going on in this side of your body, rather than thinking it has to be exactly what you've done on the other side. Let's settle into this shape. Find your edge. There's no right or wrong in yin. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. Keeping that in mind whenever you question, whenever you're unsure. Are you feeling sensation? Do you feel a stretch? You're doing it. Keep coming back. 7 out of 10. Are you at that edge? Is there a little bit of playroom? Can we work a little bit differently? Can I get a little more? Have I pushed too far? We're approaching the halfway point on this side now. And slowly preparing to shift thoughtfully with intention. There's no rush to come out of this position. And once you're ready, finding your variation of your half split. Again, high knee, sitting on your heel, coming into that half hero variation. Find what works for you. Again, rotation, twist, all the same. all that room to play. How can you get the most? And if in any position where you're in a long-legged position, fold, seated fold, if there's sensation under your knee, you can put something underneath the knee, and that might make these shapes a little more comfortable, so you're not getting that pull underneath the knee. Think more thigh and calf, above and below the knees, where we want to feel sensation here. Yin Yoga doesn't have to be these pretty shapes. We can be lopsided, we can be curled, we can be hunched. It's not about what it looks like, it's about what it feels like. Certainly isn't a glamorous practice. We have a little over 1 minute left in this position. If you're able to stay, slow, thoughtful. Coming out of this shape. Maybe there's movement, maybe it's stillness that your body is asking for. We're going to come into a sleeping swan position next. So you can come from a downward dog if that's what you like doing, or from tabletop, sliding your knee forward. And here, it doesn't need to be knee behind wrist. You can have knee super wide. You can have your leg more internally rotated. Whatever you like. Get playful here. Find something that's comfortable that you can hold. If your back leg is the issue, you can even bend that into more of a stag position or swan position. See what works. Pillows, blankets, you can put them underneath your body. You can take a little side bend. You can have props under your hips if you like, but you certainly don't have to. Find your shape and settle in. We'll do a couple minutes here, so find something you can settle into. 7 out of 10. And if over time you need to adjust, reposition, do so thoughtfully, taking cues from what the body is asking for. Welcoming that soft passiveness into this shape. That sense of release that comes with a position that is free from gripping, holding. We're not pushing so far that the body is beginning to react by engaging muscles, tightening. There's a softness and a heaviness here. Let's take one more minute in this position, if you are able to stay. As you prepare to shift, slowly uncurling, pressing up. If there's a movement that feels good, go there. If you prefer to take more of a rebound pose, maybe laying on your tummy, hanging out, feeling the release, you can. Let's set ourselves up to take that sleeping swan or stag variation to the other side. Just like with our dragons, we don't have to do anything similar to what we did on the other side. Find comfortable leg position, comfortable foot position. And keeping in mind the target area for today's practice is the legs, so we want to feel sensation somewhere there. Anything else is just a bonus. We have a little under 1 minute left in this position. we'll prepare ourselves to move slowly, thoughtfully, pressing yourself up, moving in any way that feels comfortable. We're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose here. So that might be knees wide, that might be big toes together, or you might even bring your feet to be wide as well, so the shins are parallel with one another. You can be on forearms, you can use a pillow or a blanket to rest on, or you might rest your head on your hands. Sink yourself into whichever variation you're going for, and keeping in mind that the legs are the target area. But be experimental, work. What happens if I tip? What if I tilt? What if I put a little extra weight on this side? Explore, be playful. Find that real juicy stretch. We have a little over 1 minute left here. Is there anything else you need from this shape? What is your edge? Can you play a little bit more? Make the shape work for you. Preparing yourself to shift out of this position slowly. If there's any movements that feel good, take a few moments. We're going to shift into our Shavasana next. So if you would prefer to sit up or skip, go there. My recommendation would be coming into a position where your feet are elevated. So I'm going to use my props, stack them up at the bottom of my mat. And then as I lay down, rest my feet on that elevated platform and lay down. Let your legs splay. Tuck your shoulders underneath so you're comfortable. Finding that sweet spot in the back of your skull where laying feels quite blissful. Settling into your Shavasana, however you've chosen. Maybe exploring the nuances of this shape. How can you be the most relaxed? How can you be the most at ease? Let your body be heavy. Settle onto your mat, feeling completely supported, resting. Welcome deeper, more purposeful breath. Invite some wriggling through the toes, the ankles, the fingers and the wrists. And as you feel more awakened, more energetic, let your movements grow. Find anything that feels good. Reaching the arms overhead. Roll yourself to one side and pause there for a moment. Once you're ready to do so, press yourself up. Find a comfortable seated position. And if you like, you can bring the hands together, offering this as a gesture of gratitude for yourselves, your body, your practice, everything you are capable of. Thank you for joining me in 45 minutes of Yin Yoga for the legs. Take care.